Okay, the next section we're going to go over is 16.2. Get over there here. And it's on preparing a statement of stockholders' equity. So a statement of stockholders' equity is going to talk about your equity section of your balance sheet. And you have some different accounts that with the corporation. One of them is capital stock. And then we have retained earnings and we have dividends on there. So the financial statement that shows the changes over the course of the year or the fiscal period in their ownership for the is called a statement of stockholders' equity. And the information that you gain from this and learn from this is going to be used then more on your balance sheet, and it summarizes also the retained earnings of the operation of the business. So we have a capital stock section in our statement of stockholders equity. So we have two sections, capital stock and retained earnings. The amount of capital stock issued at the beginning of the year is the beginning balance. So capital stock is all the stock that the corporation owns. Any additional stock are recorded in the same account there. So each share of stock has a value. A value assigned to the share of stock and printed on the certificate is called a par value. When they issue shares of stock, a corporation can assign any par value allowed by laws in the state to the stock. So, let me see what we're going to go through here. So if we look back up here, this is the stock that they had at the beginning of the year. They issued more during the current year. They issued 500 shares at $10 par value. So 500 times 10 is 5,000. And then the new balance updated at the end of the year then is 75,000 instead of 70,000. The retained earnings section then is the beginning balance and retained earnings. Again, it's exactly what it says. It's earnings that they didn't give out in dividends. They retained them in the company. So they have their beginning balance, and then they have how much they made, their net income after federal income tax for the current year. Subtract dividends because they paid out dividends, which is kind of like the owner's drawing account. And so the net increase here from how much they made minus the dividends is the net increase. So they're going to add those two together, and their new balance over here is on December 31st. So basically, the statement of stockholders' equity is the capital stock plus the balance of retained earnings, and that's the total stockholders' equity. All right, so let's go on to a couple of these questions. What financial information does a statement of stockholders' equity report? They report the changes in the corporation's ownership for one fiscal period. So two main sections of the statement of stockholders' equity. We have capital stock and retained earnings are the two different sections. What information found to prepare the capital stock section of a statement? Where is the information found to prepare the capital stock statement of stockholders' equity? And that is in the general ledger in the capital stock general ledger account. Where is the beginning balance of retained earnings found? It should be also in the unadjusted trial balance. You could also find it in the beginning balance and the general ledger account. When issuing shares of stocks, what par value can a corporation assign to each share? They can assign any par value allowed by laws in the state that they incorporate. Where is the net income after federal income taxes found? Well, that can be found on your income statement that you just prepared before this. Okay, so we're going to try this on your own here, or work together problem. I do want you to go through and watch these animated videos. One is on the income statement here, and so I want you to do these two quizzes here and watch this animated activity video and quiz here. And then you can show me. Okay, so we're going to go here though. I'm going to do the 16-2 work together. Now you can do it on paper if you want to follow along that way, but so it says the statement of stockholders' equity has two major sections, capital stock and retained earnings. Information for a statement of stockholders' equity is taken from more than one source. The amounts for capital stock section are obtained from which source? So capital stock is you can get from the general ledger. You could get it from the adjusted trial balance. Balance sheet once you're done. But that's after you're done with that, so we'll see how that goes. Unadjusted trial balance gives you like the beginning balance of capital stock, so I'm going to say that. General journal, no. Income statement, no. The amounts for retained earnings are obtained from which source? Retained earnings will give you the beginning balance would be an unadjusted trial balance. Adjusted balance would be your ending balance and retained earnings. A balance sheet, and it would not be a general journal or which of the following will increase retained earnings? Dividends declared will decrease your retained earnings because you don't keep them in the company. Issue of stock wouldn't do anything to your retained earnings necessarily. Par value does not increase your retained earnings. Net income would. So let's grade this. I don't know how I feel about this. Alright, so I didn't do very well on it. But you can get an adjusted trial balance will give you a capital stock beginning figure. And a balance sheet after you're done with capital stock, so I disagree kind of with those two. The amounts for retained earnings are obtained from which source? Adjusted trial balance, yes. General journal, disagree for that one. You can get it from the general journal. That you're going to have to do quite a bit of work for that one. So get all the rest of those right. I'm not really worried about those. All right, so let's go ahead and prepare a statement of stockholders' equity, though. So this is going to be trial balance for Superior Corporation. It's a statement of stockholders' equity. Statement of what does it want here? Oh. And then and it is December. Okay. So when you're doing a statement of stockholders' equity, remember we have two sections. We have capital stock, and they told you, they should tell you a par value of $10 per share up there. And then they had, at the beginning of the year, January 1st, how many shares they had issued at the beginning of the year. They had 8,000 shares issued. So we had $80,000 there. And then issued during the current year, they issued an additional 250 shares. So then on the balance on December 31st, there were, so this would be 250,000, or 25,000, I'm sorry. So then we had 8,250 shares total issued with the two of them together. So we have $105,000, if I did my math right here. That's all right. So I did 250 times 10 is 2,500 is what I did around there here. And it'd be 82,500. Okay, and the second area, remember, is for retained earnings. And the balance on January 1st is, I can look up here. Okay, so this is 15,283.40. Net income, we'll have to do after federal income tax. Look at an income statement for that. Net income after federal income tax was 73,148. 73,148.